Hi, I'm Kira. The bruises on my arms had faded, but the ones inside never would. I stood in my small apartment kitchen, making breakfast for my 4-year-old son, Ethan, while trying to ignore the missed calls from my parents lighting up my phone. Mommy, can I have more blueberries? Ethan's voice pulled me back to the present. Of course, sweetie. I slid a few more onto his plate. How about we go to the park after breakfast? The one with the big slide you like. Yeah. His eyes lit up. Can we bring my truck? Absolutely. I ruffled his hair, desperately wanting to preserve his happiness, his innocence. My phone buzzed again. Dad. I silenced it, but the damage was done. My hands had started trembling. Kira, you okay? My neighbor and friend Melissa stood in the doorway, concern etched across her face. I'd given her a key months ago when the nightmares had been at their worst. I'm fine, I said automatically, the words hollow even to my own ears. Melissa's eyebrows shot up as she took a seat. That's why you called me at midnight crying? Because you're fine? Ethan looked up. Mommy was crying. Mommy just had a bad dream, I reassured him. Why don't you go pick out which trucks to bring to the park? After he scampered off, Melissa leaned forward. What happened yesterday? You were so nervous about taking Ethan to your parents. I busied myself with cleaning dishes. It was fine until Ethan knocked over Dad's model ship. It was an accident. He's 4, for heaven's sake. Dad started yelling and Ethan got scared and started crying. And? Melissa prompted. I tried to calm Ethan down, told Dad he needed to lower his voice. My voice cracked. That's when Dad grabbed his belt. Melissa's sharp intake of breath echoed in the kitchen. Kira, tell me he didn't… Not Ethan, me. I showed her the fading welt. Said if I knew how to discipline my son properly, this wouldn't be necessary. That's assault! Did you call the police? I laughed bitterly. My mom pulled me aside and told me not to make a scene. Said I was overreacting, like always. What did you do? I grabbed Ethan and left, but not before my dad said he was worried about how I was raising Ethan without a father, that maybe he should petition for guardianship, for Ethan's own good. He can't do that. Melissa's voice rose. Can't he? He's respected in the community, has money, connections. Melissa stood up, her face determined. My brother's a family lawyer. Your dad assaulted you. He threatened to take your child. That's not someone who should be anywhere near Ethan. Mom says I've always been too sensitive. Your mom is enabling abuse, Melissa interrupted. You didn't leave that environment just for yourself. You left it for Ethan, right? Truck time, Mommy, Ethan announced, returning with toys. Listen, Melissa said quietly. Take Ethan to the park. When you get back, we're calling my brother. This ends now. Later, my phone rang. My mother. Kira, your father and I are very disappointed in your behavior yesterday, she began. My behavior? I kept my voice low. Mom, he hit me with a belt, in front of my son. He disciplined you. There's a difference. I'm 32 years old. Then start acting like it, she snapped. Apologize to your father. I caught sight of my reflection, tired eyes, the faint welt, the tension in my shoulders. No, I said quietly. Excuse me? Dad assaulted me. He threatened to take my son away. I will not apologize. Don't be ridiculous, Mom hissed. Your father was just upset. He never means it, Mom. That's been your excuse my entire life. I have to go. My lawyer will be in touch. I hung up as she was still sputtering, then turned to find Melissa with a look of pride on her face. My brother's on his way, she said. A restraining order is just the first step. David, Melissa's brother, explained the next morning as we sat at my kitchen table. With the documented injury and Melissa's witness statement, we have grounds. I fidgeted with my coffee mug. What about his threats to take Ethan? Empty threats, David assured me. Courts don't remove children from loving parents without substantial evidence of neglect or abuse. My father has resources, connections, and a documented history of violence, David countered. This wasn't the first time, was it? I stared into my coffee. Growing up, it was normal. The belt, the threats. My mother always covered for him. Did you ever report it? Once, I was 14. The school counselor called CPS. My parents convinced them I was attention-seeking. Dad said if I ever embarrassed the family again, he'd make sure I regretted it. My phone buzzed. A text from my coworker, Jamie. Your dad just showed up at the diner asking for your schedule. I said I didn't know it. Everything okay? I showed David my hands shaking. This helps our case, he said, typing rapidly. It shows escalation. The doorbell rang, and Melissa returned with our friend Tony, who'd offered to watch Ethan. I thought you should know, Tony said, his face serious. I just drove by your parents' house and your dad was loading suitcases into his car. My stomach dropped. He's coming here. No, he's not, David said firmly, already on his phone. Judge Watkins owes me a favor. We're getting that emergency order today. I should call my mom. Tony put a hand on my arm. Kira, there's something else. On my way in, I noticed a car parked down the street. Someone was watching your apartment. David immediately checked the window. Gray sedan? Tony nodded. That's my dad's car, I whispered. Melissa took my hands. Kira, you're not alone in this anymore. Ethan, I started. Is fine, Tony assured me. He's watching cartoons with Lena. David returned. I've got a deputy on the way. In the meantime, I need statements from both of you. He nodded to Tony and Melissa. For the next hour, I recalled painful memories while David took notes. Your father called the diner 6 times last month, Tony mentioned. And there was that time he showed up at Ethan's daycare, Melissa added. A knock at the door made us all jump. David returned with a uniformed deputy. Miss Wilson? I'm Deputy Harding. We've received reports of a suspicious vehicle, and I understand you're filing for protection. Yes, I confirmed, trying to keep my voice steady. The vehicle is registered to Richard Wilson, the deputy said. Your father? I nodded. I've asked him to leave, which he did, but not without complaint. Until the order is in place, we'll have patrols in the area. After she left, David closed his laptop. We've got enough. The emergency order should be approved within hours. What about my job? I asked. I'm supposed to work tonight. Call in, Melissa suggested. I can't afford to miss shifts, I sighed. You can't afford to face your father alone either, Tony pointed out. I'll cover for you. My phone rang again, my mother. I answered and put it on speaker. What have you done? She demanded. Your father is furious. He was stalking me, Mom, I replied calmly. He's worried about his grandson. After how you behaved. Mrs. Wilson, David interrupted. This is David Keller, your daughter's attorney. I advise you to stop this call. Any further contact may affect the terms of the restraining order being processed. Restraining order? My mother's voice rose. Kira, have you lost your mind? What you've done, I said quietly, is stand by while Dad hurt me. For 30 years. I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm not letting Ethan grow up thinking it's normal. 2 weeks later, I sat in a courthouse conference room, the temporary restraining order spread before me. David reviewed our notes for the permanent order hearing. Remember, he advised, stick to facts, dates, specific incidents, threats made. I nodded, trying to calm my racing heart. Will they be here? Yes. Their attorney filed a response claiming your allegations are exaggerated. The door opened and we entered the courtroom. I kept my eyes forward, but I could feel my parents' presence, my father's anger radiating like heat. Judge Watkins called the hearing to order and asked me directly, You're seeking protection from your parents, Richard and Eleanor Wilson? Yes, Your Honor, I managed, my voice steadier than expected. And the grounds? Physical assault, harassment, and threats regarding custody of my son? Your Honor, my parents' attorney interrupted. These claims are vastly overstated. My clients are concerned grandparents abruptly cut off from their grandson. Mr. Pierce, you'll have your turn, Judge Watkins said firmly. Miss Wilson, please describe the incident that prompted this petition. Taking a deep breath, I recounted that day. Dad's rage, the belt, my mother's dismissal, the threat regarding Ethan, and the subsequent stalking. David presented photos of my injuries and witness statements regarding my father's behavior. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, do you wish to respond? The judge asked. My father stood, indignant. Your Honor, my daughter has always been emotionally unstable. She's fabricating these claims to punish us for expressing concern about our grandson's welfare. By striking your adult daughter with a belt? Judge Watkins asked pointedly. A disciplinary tap that she's exaggerated, my father insisted. Kira has always been overly sensitive. Mr. Wilson, your daughter is 32 years old. What gives you the right to discipline her at all? My father faltered. She was being disrespectful in my home. And that justifies assault? It wasn't assault. Your Honor, my mother interjected. We love our daughter and grandson. This whole situation has been blown out of proportion. Mrs. Wilson, are you disputing that your husband struck your daughter with a belt? My mother hesitated. Well, no, but... And are you disputing that your husband threatened legal action regarding her son? He was upset. He didn't mean... Did he make the threat, Mrs. Wilson? My mother's shoulders slumped. Yes. After an hour of testimony, Judge Watkins called for closing statements. Your Honor, my parents' attorney began, what we have here is a family disagreement that has spiraled out of control. My clients simply want access to their grandson. When David's turn came, he stood calmly. Your Honor, this is a documented case of assault, followed by harassment and threats. Miss Wilson is seeking to protect herself and her son from further harm. Judge Watkins considered before addressing us. Based on the evidence presented, I find sufficient cause for concern regarding Miss Wilson's safety. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, regardless of your intentions, your actions constitute assault and harassment. My father started to protest, but the judge silenced him. The petition for permanent restraining order is granted. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, you are to remain at least 500 feet from your daughter, her residence, and workplace. You are to have no contact with her or her son. This order will remain in effect for 3 years. Violation will result in immediate arrest. Do you understand? This is outrageous, my father exploded. She's my daughter. Mr. Wilson, Judge Watkins's voice cracked like thunder. I asked if you understand. My mother tugged at his sleeve. Richard, please. I understand, he finally ground out. Mrs. Wilson? Yes, Your Honor, my mother said quietly. As we gathered our papers, I finally looked at my parents. My father's face was flushed with anger, but it was my mother's expression that caught me. A mixture of confusion and what might have been regret. For a brief moment, our eyes met. I didn't see understanding there, but perhaps the beginning of realization. 6 months later, I sat in my new apartment, surrounded by unpacked boxes. The restraining order had given me courage to make other changes. A new place closer to Ethan's preschool, and a new job as an office manager at David's law firm. That's the last of the kitchen stuff, Melissa announced, collapsing beside me. Tony and David are assembling Ethan's bed now. I can't thank you all enough, I said, genuine gratitude in my voice. That's what friends are for, she replied. How are you feeling about everything? I considered the question. Lighter, I think. Like I've put down something I didn't realize I was carrying. Any word from your parents? I shook my head. Nothing direct. That would violate the order. But my aunt called last month. Said Mom's been seeing a therapist. Really? Melissa looked surprised. Apparently, the restraining order was a wake-up call. I made air quotes. Dad's less convinced. He told the family I'm having a breakdown. Mommy, look! Ethan came running in, waving a drawing. It's our new house. It's beautiful, I praised. Is that me and you? And Aunt Melissa and Uncle Tony and Mr. David? He pointed to each stick figure. We're having a party. We sure are, I agreed. A new home party. Can Grandma and Grandpa come? He asked innocently. The question caught me off guard. No, sweetie. Remember? Grandma and Grandpa need time away to learn better behavior. Like when I have to sit in time out for hitting? He asked. Something like that, I agreed. I'm hungry, he announced, subject forgotten. As Ethan ran to tell Tony about his drawing, the doorbell rang. David went to answer it. He returned looking uncomfortable. Kira, it's your mother. My heart raced. She can't be here. The restraining order. She's staying at the legal distance on the sidewalk, David assured me. She says she just wants to talk. After a moment, I nodded. I'll talk to her. I followed David to the front of the complex, where my mother stood awkwardly on the sidewalk, holding a small gift bag. 5 minutes, David told her firmly. Thank you, she said, surprising me with her politeness. I approached, stopping at a safe distance. Mom. Kira. She fidgeted with the gift bag. You look well. I am well. What do you want? I wanted to give you this, for your new place. She held out the bag. Inside was a small potted peace lily. Thank you, I said, unsure what else to offer. I've been seeing someone, my mother blurted. A therapist. Aunt Linda mentioned that. She's helping me understand certain patterns. Mom looked down. I want you to know that I'm working on myself. Your father isn't ready yet, but I'm hoping eventually. Mom, I interrupted gently. I'm glad you're getting help, but this doesn't change anything right now. The restraining order stays in place. I know, she said quickly. I'm not asking for that. I just needed to see that you're okay. I am okay. Better than okay, actually. An awkward silence stretched between us. Is Ethan? She finally asked. He's good, loving preschool, making friends. She nodded, eyes glistening. That's good. Mom, what happened? What's been happening my whole life? It wasn't okay. You know that, right? She didn't answer immediately. I'm trying to understand that. It's hard to face. When the order expires, she continued hesitantly, would we be able to talk again? I considered her question seriously. I don't know, Mom. That's 3 years away. A lot can change in that time, or nothing can. It depends on the work you do, and Dad, too. I understand. But, I added, surprising myself, if you keep working with your therapist, maybe in a year, we could exchange letters, through David's office. Hope flickered across her face. I'd like that. It's not a promise, I cautioned, and it would depend on continued respect for the boundaries I've set. Of course. She took a step back. I should go. Your father doesn't know I'm here. He hasn't accepted things yet. That's his choice, I said firmly. Just like this is mine. She nodded once, then looked back. You were always stronger than I gave you credit for. After she left, I stood holding the peace lily, feeling oddly settled. David approached. You okay? Yeah, I said, surprising myself with how true it felt. Back in the apartment, pizza had arrived, and everyone was gathered in the living room, laughter filling the space. Everything all right? Melissa asked as I set the plant on the windowsill. It's a start, I replied. Not forgiveness, not yet. Maybe not ever, but a start. Later, after everyone had gone and Ethan was asleep, I sat on my balcony watching the city lights. My phone buzzed with a text from David. Proud of you today. Remember, healing isn't linear. I smiled, feeling the truth of those words. The path forward wouldn't be straight or easy, but I was certain it was the right one. I had broken the cycle, for myself, for Ethan, and in some small way, maybe even for the scared child I once was, who had never believed escape was possible.